Hi Flosstube, this is Jen from Squirrel Brain Studio, and I just wanted to give you a chance to get to know me. I'm going to go through some things that I finished this past year and also through some things that I am currently working on, or quite honestly some of my oldest WIPs too, which one of them is ancient, and I do mean ancient. But like I said, I wanted to get to know you and let you get to know me, so let's get started. First, I want to show you some things that I worked on this last year, and I will try to remember to put the names of the patterns, designers, and stuff like that information at the bottom of the screen because I don't have the patterns right in front of me, but did want to show them to you nonetheless. So first I wanted to show you, this is a housewife that I worked on from Blackbird Designs. It's from their, if I remember right, sewing club book. I obviously still have yet to finish it off, but it is on my list of things to finish. Next is a Family Friends Faith Forever design that I worked on. This was what got me back into stitching after a 25 year hiatus. So I did want to show you that one. That one is a couple years old, but it is something that got me back into stitching. This is something that I recently fully finished. I did the stitching part and then let it sit for some time, but did recently try my hand at lacing and fully finishing, and I'm pretty happy with it. Up in this corner up here, it's a little bit crooked, but for early attempt, I'm happy with it. This is, oh geez, like I said, I'll put it at the bottom of the screen. I think it's Christmas Quaker or something along that line, but I'll see if I can find the name of the pattern and list it below. I've got M.E. Metcalf 1889 from Hands Across the Sea Designs. This one I did on a light green 22 count, just a hard hanger type cloth. I did make a small adjustment down in this corner. I didn't like, they had this particular one set of diamonds right here. They had two different colors, and every other set of diamonds in the border was single colors, so I made it single colors. They seem to follow a pattern, and I just went ahead and made it single pattern. So that's a slight adjustment that I did. It helped work with my OCD brain. This one is a little bit, not a little bit, it's a lot wrinkly. This is Claire Hansen from, trying to think, I'll see if I can look it up and find it, but it is on a 40 count Seraphim Harvest Blessings. It's actually, I think, my all-time favorite fabric. It seems to go with a lot of different colors. It's got some oranges, some burgundies, that teal color in it. It's got some tans. So it does have a lot of different colors in that seem to match. You'll see it pop up in a variety of things that I either have worked on, am working on, or will work on in the future. I have Union, Under This We Prosper. This is by Siren Needleworks. You can find them on Etsy. And if I remember right, I think it's just on a generic 28 count, but I could be wrong. I did one of the Primrose Cottages. I'm trying to think if this is spring, maybe? Spring or summer. I didn't do it in the color that they chose to do it in. I'm more partial to teals and things like that, so I did do it in that color, but I'm pretty happy with that. I'm going back and forth on whether I want to frame it or whether I want to make it into a pillow. If I do frame it, I'll put it into a frame with magnets so that as I do other ones, I can switch them out maybe seasonally. But I did want to show you this one. And then I have to redo the framing on this because I didn't get that crease out. I think I could do a much better job, but this is Pretty Polly. It's a freebie by Hands Across the Sea, and guess there's really nothing more to say with that. And then finally, I wanted to show you this Practice Random Acts of Kindness. It's a phrase that I thought was well worth it for today's day and age, and I wanted to get that stitched up. They've got several other, this comes in a pattern that has, I don't even remember, maybe six or eight different sayings, and there are others that I wanted to do, but I'm trying to figure out where would be a good spot in my home to put this up and remind us as we go about our day-to-day and go out into the world to remember to do that random acts of kindness and just try to spread a little bit of positivity into the world. So give me a minute to get this stuff off my lap, and then I'll turn around and show you some of the things some of the WIPs that I'm working on, and we'll go from there. Okay, time to check out some of the stuff that I am currently working on, works in progress, or even some of my old WIPs that are more ancient than time, I think. First, I will show you one that I was just working on this morning. It's Maria Wales Newson. Maria Wales Newson from Hands Across the Sea Design. I don't know that I will make the end of the month cutoff for the stitch along, but it's something that I picked up and started to work on, so we will see. You'll have to excuse me while I shuffle things around a bit. It might get a bit messy or loud or me bending over. And again, these are some of the ones that I will probably have to, I don't know where all the charts are, I'll probably have to list at the bottom of the screen what the names of some of these items are. Because while I've got the charts around somewhere, the Lord knows where they're at. I am working on, at the time that I picked this one up, this Marguerite Foriel 1918 by Couleur Tudorel. At the time that I got this chart, it was offered as a freebie. And instead of doing mine in red, I have actually been working on it in black. So again, that is Marguerite Foriel from Couleur Tudorel. My French is lacking, to say the least. And then I've got Beloved from Running with Needles and Scissors. I'm trying to think. I don't know if I've got the chart in here somewhere. I don't have it here laying out at the moment. I've got this one's a Hot Mess Express. I have a Barbara Anna design that I intended to work on the correct way, but when I put it onto my fabric, it's Love Never Fails by Barbara Anna Design. When I put it on my fabric, I put it on 90 degrees to what it's supposed to be. So instead of having it this way on my fabric, I had it 90 degrees, which caused me to totally mess up the design because I no longer had room for it to fit this way. So I've totally reworked the design where I'm doing this center section. I'm moving in the birds. I'm moving in the cats, lopping it off. The people are going off the design. I'm taking some of the symbols and stuff from out here, putting them in. So basically, I'm totally reworking this center section so that it's much more vertical and eliminating the people. Someone did suggest that if I wanted the people on the design, I could always take and maybe stitch them separately. I can't show you what I'm doing because it would be showing you, a pixelated version of the design. But here's where I'm at so far. I am going back and forth on this design on whether I want to put my husband and I's initials and maybe the year we got married in here, or whether I just want to leave it plain. Because I think if I put the initials and stuff in here, it would just be in a back stitch and you really wouldn't see a whole lot. Now, the other thing that I'm running into with this is I started it with some old DMC floss, and the pink, this darker pink, or this medium pink color here, is different. The color lot is different in the newer ones, so I'm concerned about whether I'll be able to find or have enough to make it work. I think I'll stitch the top. I've finished the heart, and I'll stitch the flowers on the other side that match up, and then maybe switch to the different color lot if I have to, unless I can find somebody with a 30-year-old, 20 to 30-year-old lot of colors that I can buy that particular floss from. Let's see, next, let me undo this and unroll it so you can see it. Next, I'm working on Flemish Giant from Long Dog Samplers.
It means the territory of other creatures is increasingly shrinking into fragmented, disconnected pieces.
It is one that, interestingly, I wasn't crazy about the... I'm doing it on a generic white. I think it's, if I remember right, a 28 count. That seemed to be my sweet spot for a while. And I'm doing it in the called for colors.
They know when continuing will only bring
and
to both sides. Bigfoot and
I initially, I guess it's interesting when I'm stitching the colors, I don't necessarily care for them, care for the color combinations. But as I get it finished and go back to it later, I find that I like it. I like the design. Now, one thing I am doing with the design is on the chart up above this set of alphabet here, there's another couple rows, if I remember right, of alphabets. I'm taking that off the chart. And then on the far side, I'm about 20% done with the chart. But on the far side, there's numbers that go down the side, and I didn't want those on as well. So I've taken and compressed in the design some to eliminate those numbers. And in this area here, I'm using some of the design as is, but like this design here come from another area of the chart. So I'm taking and just splattering around some of the other motifs so that it fills out the chart
humans learn to stop
and
before we become
makes
the
it
ones
balance
that
the
no
best that
territory
I
left
think it
to
can be.
return
So
to.
it won't be exactly
There's
like
another
what
aspect
is
of this
shown
that worries
on the
me
graph,
deeply.
but
If these creatures exist,
it's
and I
not
know
looking
they do,
too bad.
and if they are intelligent enough to have laws,
And keep
land,
in mind, what
and
I'm showing you are in
practical
absolutely
what
no
does that
particular
mean
order. I'm
for
going to
us?
show you
And
next
if
my
we are our
oldest.
entire civilization on the assumption that we are the only intelligent
My oldest
species
WIP,
on Earth, discovering
and I don't
another
have the
intelligent species would be revolutionary enough. But to and
I don't have the
potentially more,
magazine in front of
the
me.
implications go
It's
far
from
beyond scientific discovery. There are legal
1987.
questions. Do these
So
creatures
go
have
figure,
rights?
that's quite a
Ethical
long time ago. It
questions.
was
Is it ethical to develop land
cross
that might
stitch
be their
and
territory? And practical
country designs or
questions.
something
How
like that.
many of them
But
are
what
there
it
where
is
they live?
I'll do a quick
And
flash.
what
Santa
happens if
Claus
our expanding
from
civilization
1987, and
encroaches
I've
too
gotten
deep
this
into
far
our
on it.
domain? When I share this
I had
story,
stopped
I
at
don't
this
expect
point
you to believe me
because
100%.
down here
I
at the
just want to
bottom,
know what I witnessed
the
and what I
way it's
understood.
charted,
What I
it's
want to
charted
advise
with
you,
holly,
just as my grandfather advised me,
but it
is to
also had the
respect
year
nature,
in there.
respect
And I
animals.
I
As
don't
we
want the
push
year in
deeper
there.
into
I'd like to have it look
wildlands,
more
as
like
we
solid
develop
holly.
remoter areas, the
So
chances of
I've taken
encounters
the
will
chart
increase.
and
And based on the
printed it
results
out
of these
and
encounters,
cut and
can be
chopped some of
dangerous
the
for
pieces
humans.
out and tried to
Dogmen, in
lay them in
particular,
to see if
display
I
a
can
level of
get more
aggression
of a
suggesting they wouldn't
continuous
hesitate to
holly
attack
design,
humans
because this
if
is back in the
provoked
day
or
where you've
cornered.
got the
However,
fractional
I'm not
stitches,
claiming
you've
the
got back
1982
stitching
case
out the
was a
Yahoo,
dogman attack.
you know, you've
Their
got
names
confetti
unknown.
stitching like
The
crazy.
Bigfoots seem more
So
disciplined, more intelligent, but that doesn't
I
necessarily
think my
make them
next
safe.
step before I go and
We'll
finish
end
this
with
top
this.
part would
If
be
you
to
find
go
yourself
down
deep in
in
the woods near a
and
border,
see if
especially during
I can get that
transitional
bottom
times,
area down
dawn,
here
dusk,
with the holly
the
and stuff to
equinox,
look
dark
right
of the moon,
before I
inception,
bother
look
to
for
proceed
signs
on
tracks
with the
that are too
top.
large, trees marked
If
too
I
obvious,
can't,
sounds that don't
I'm
belong
not quite
there.
sure
But if you
what
see them,
I'll
if you
do,
witness what I
because
witnessed,
it's
carefully
not
consider
designed
what
in
you
a
do
way
with
to
that
just
knowledge. Some
easily
secrets are meant to be
stop
kept,
the
not
design.
because
It's
the
meant
world
to
isn't ready
be,
for them, but
as
because
you
they
can
represent something we
quickly
nearly
see,
lost.
it's meant to
The
be a
mystery,
full
the wonder,
circle.
the
So
possibility
like
that
you
we
would
don't
frame
know
this in a
everything, that there are
circular
still discoveries to be
frame.
made, that the
So we'll
world
see,
is
but
bigger and
you know,
stranger
obviously
than we
since this
imagine.
is from
That is my
1987,
story.
that can give you an
Now
idea
I
of
will hand
just
it
how
back to
old this
MC
particular
Mike,
WIP
the host
is.
of this
And,
Sasquatch
you know,
story
the fact
channel.
that it's got
Hello,
the old
everyone.
masking
It's Mike
tape
again.
borders and
We just
stuff.
heard
This
a
was
fascinating
surprisingly
story,
one of the
fascinating
earliest
story
things that I
from Ryan
actually
Hall.
worked on in cross
He
stitch.
didn't
I
just
don't
see
know what I
Bigfoot,
was
but also
thinking.
witnessed
Apparently I
dogmen with
had
his own eyes.
confidence
These
and then some
unusual
back
creatures
then
people usually only mention
to
in
dive
folklore,
into something that
mystery
intricate, but
forums,
then
or
again the
endless
designs
online
back in those
debates.
days were
But it
quite
didn't stop
intricate
there.
too.
Ryan stood in a
Let me
position
see what else
quite
I
possibly
have here
no
that I
human
can
has ever
show
stood
you.
before, where the territorial
I
boundaries of
started
ancient species collided. A confrontation not just of instinct, but of rules, limits, arbitration, and
Needle
finally,
with Small Magic
the
Power
choice to
by
stop.
Dutch
Ha
Treat
ha ha.
Designs.
To be honest, when my team first received this story, my
And
initial reaction was, sounds cool, but is
I started it, and where I started was sort of in this middle area here. I'm not going to have, I have an extremely minimal border on this. This again is the Harvest Blessings fabric, and I'm using like a dark, it's almost like a greenish brown thread for it. But I started, I'll probably have to go and when I'm finished sew on either side to extend the borders out for framing. But I started there in the middle, I think, to see, I wanted an area that was interesting, but also an area where it was, right in here is around the middle of the design. so I could gauge, because I didn't have a very big piece of this Harvest Blessing left to use. So I wanted to make sure that it would fit on there. So I'm taking, I came out and then I'm taking and starting to work up the side to see, if where I get to the top, and maybe work down the side to the bottom to make sure that I've got enough before I go crazy and fill in the rest of the design. I do have some other smalls. If you give me a second, I'll show you. Smaller ones that I'm working on. I'm not going to dig out everything that's a small. This is one that I just started the other day. It's called a mini, or a Love Mini Sampler, Mini Quaker, Love Mini Quaker, by, I forget who it's by, and it's on 35 count Absidarian blend by R&R, or by Dying to Stitch. So that's one that I just started working on the other day. I'm in this mode where I picked several things for a blessing sampler, and I'm just nothing's really jiving with me. I've never done a blessing sampler before, and for whatever reason I'm restless and nothing's seeming to fit right. Give me a second, I'll show you another one that I've been working on. It's a Hands Across the Sea design. It's called Only One Rose by Hands Across the Sea. I gotta figure out where I put, there it is. I grabbed the extra fabric. It's one that, let me take it out of the hoop here. I know I'm supposed to take it out every time, but I just on a whim the other day decided to stop working on it. And it looks like this. And then these two motifs on this side, this upper flower and that lower flower, are mirrored on this other side of the rose. And then there's a saying below that that says, there may be many flowers in a man's life, but only one rose. I'm not going to get it finished, especially if I'm working on the Maria Wales Newsom. I'm not going to get it finished here in January, but it's a pretty design nonetheless. It'll get finished when it gets finished. I've been in startitis mode lately, so who knows when I'll get the things finished. Boy, I've got stuff everywhere. Let's see, what is this? I'll definitely have to list this below. This is a Reflet de Soie design that I started. My daughter loves this one because she loves the purples and the pinks in it. And she actually doesn't mind the greens and stuff like that. I have to decide if I want to use that as like a heritage piece for her, or if I want to make it as design. Give me a second here. Another design that I'm working on is called Anna Omen 1873. And it is by Leela's Studio. This one I am going to use as a heritage piece for my father. My dad likes eagles. You can't see the top of this, and I'm not going to loosen it right now. I'm doing it in a Mettler variegated floss. That it is floss number, it's a Mettler, Don't mind the dog hairs. It's a, I'm trying to think. It's 100% cotton, but it's a silk finish cotton. And I actually really like stitching with it. It doesn't tend to fuzz like a lot of the cotton flosses do. I got this off of 123 Stitch. But it is color number 9848. I don't know if you'll be able to see that. Probably not. 9848. Doesn't always focus the best. But it's, I don't know if you can see with the light. Let me pull it down and maybe you can see a little bit better. It's got deep reds. It's got almost like pinks and some like reddish oranges and stuff in it. But it turns out to be really beautiful. You can't really pick it up on the screen, but in person, it's a really nice variegation. It's, really interesting variegation with that one. So I'm quite happy with that. Give me just a minute and I'll see what other ones I can dig up and show you that I've been working on. Okay, back to some other things after a quick reset. My daughter is 8 years old and shows some interest in the various hobbies that I try. So to try to get her really interested and excited about cross stitching, I not only taught her how to read a simple chart so she understands how to do the counting part, but I bought her some different fabrics and some dyes, some like tie dyes, and we dyed some fabrics. So I took one of those fabrics and started to do, this is a design I can't show you because the design is the chart. It's called Fabergé Tulip Egg by Doreen Jones, 2017. And maybe you can see the design is starting to come out. It's a egg shaped, which I don't have the whole outside of the egg in yet, but it has these flowers on the inside as well. And I was working on that to show her. She was working on her own project, but I, wanted to show her that Mama was interested in some of the material that we dyed together as well. And that was a fun process. Even her twin, who is a boy, got into the whole dyeing of the fabric process. He, enjoyed the mess that we made. So we all had fun. It was a nice, family, not dad included, but, for Mama and the kids, family event or family task that we did together. Something else that I started, I would say I've gotten to where I can stitch pretty well on 40 count fabric. 46 is it's a stretch, but I can do it with magnification. And I decided to attempt a chart, and I've just got a little bit done. I don't know if you can see my really wimpy start here. This is on Baked Clay by why did I just go? Fox and Rabbit Baked Clay. And the chart is another Hands Across the Sea sampler chart. It's Anna Sophia Burcham. And I'm up here in this upper right corner. And boy, I'll tell you what, I definitely need the magnification with that baby. And I end up so close to the magnifier that my hand, hits and bumps the magnifier. It seems like every time I pull the stitch through. So that one's going to take quite quite a long time because that's not exactly a small sampler, but it's something I always wanted to try 56 count, and I do have some other 56 count fabrics, so we'll see how I survive with that. Another small that I have worked on and I need to get back to is, and again, I can't show you the design. It's from newstitches.com magazine, issue 251. And this is, trying to think, this is the top of the design. It's not perfectly symmetric. You'll have a couple of flowers over here on the side, and then like a heart here at the bottom. So this way it'll be symmetrical, but this flower here will not match, you know, obviously the heart that'll be at the bottom. But that's something small that I'm working with. I have been playing, I don't know if you can really see the Krynic mixed in with this yellow threads here. I'm on the fence about whether I'll leave the Krynic in or whether I'll tear all that out and just put like a gold DMC, was it diamond thread in. I mean, it gives it sparkle now as it is. It just looks a little messy with the Krynic mixed in with it. If you give me a second, I'll put this one back and toss it aside. I'm not sure. I'm actually missing one of the things that I was working on. Not sure where it's at the moment. It slid down. It was another Hands Across the Sea chart. I'll have to see if I can find it. But this one that I'm going to show you next is number 138 by Mosey and Me. It's called Speckled Bellied Bird. And I have a really minor start on that. I just started in the area of the wing. So it's a really minor. I don't stick to all the same type of things when I stitch. It's whatever trips my trigger at the moment. It's sort of that way on a lot of things I do. The Squirrel Brain Studio name came from the fact that I do a little bit of a lot of things, whether it be paper crafts, cross stitch, stitching together quilt tops. I've worked on stained glass some. I've done carving of spoons. I've done turning wood on a lathe. In the past, I've done some like painting, not necessarily toll type painting, but some painting, some drawing. I'm trying to learn watercolor, which that's a bit of a tough process, but I'm trying to doodle with watercolor painting. And I've also played with gouache. Trying to think what else. Seems like my brain catches wind of something and just runs. And I'm constantly doing like a round robin on things to see what my brain's interested in at the moment. So while this particular video is about Flosstube, and I imagine a lot of them in the future will be, who knows what else will come up and pop up as I go through and work on things. But I wanted to show you another cross stitch that I am working on. It's called Halloween March Drum. And instead of doing it monocolor like this one, I have been working on mine again. I forget the name of this particular fabric, but I've been doing mine in 3 different colors. The black, or 4 different, I guess. The yellow, the orange, the black, and then there's sort of like a limey green in there. I was making the lights up top of the drum. I wanted them to show up in the 3 different colors, the yellow, the green, and the orange. The witch is going to be in black. Obviously, I made the face and stuff on the pumpkin in black. I was thinking of making, on this cauldron down here, I was thinking of making the cauldron black, but the swirls and stuff that go out from it, I was thinking of making in like that lime green, almost like it's like toxic looking. Now this one, I don't know what I was thinking, but it's on a 32 count fabric, if I remember right. I cut it down incorrectly, so it ended up being that right now I'm stitching this 1/1, and it's going to be tiny. It'll be one that I probably would make a little drum that I could almost sit on my wrist. I don't know where my tape measure's at the moment, or I'd measure it, but if you look for perspective, you know, at the height compared to my thumb, you can tell it's not going to be that big. It's only like 1.5 inches tall, I think, and maybe 5 inches long. So it's definitely going to be tiny. I've considered finishing it like this, and then maybe even doing it again in a little larger size in the black, but I'll see. Interestingly, I'm not a real big seasonal stitcher per se. I like stitching what I like stitching, and holidays aren't necessarily one of them that sticks out to me. Another one that I've just done a small start on is called In Memory of Louis 1874 by Antique Sampler Reproduction. And that one, again, I've got a small start. I did a center start on this one as well. And it is right here. You can see in the white and light gray the bird's wing. And that's all the further I've gotten on that. This one is on, I don't know if I've got the fabric here somewhere. It's on a Lugana Even Weave 28 count Shadowbrook by effervescentdesigns.com. It's a really pretty fabric. I really like the fabric, and it's really heavy, which surprised me. But I thought that green would look good with the natural themes of like the deer and stuff like that. Speaking of not being a big holiday stitcher, a design that I was working on was a design called 1999 Christmas Sampler by Kathy Barrick Designs. And the fabric choice, you'll have to excuse the dog hair and the hanging. The fabric choice that I chose is a 45 count Legacy Linen Nightingale. It's got I would say a sort of pinky burgundy color to it. I can't get a good design on it, but I liked some of the colors on it. I didn't like some of the others. Like this red here, I didn't have the red that was called for, so I found a more orangey red that went with the other threads. And then this tier and this upper tier on this tree that I started were supposed to be in a lot lighter color of green that was really close to this one. And I just didn't, and even the letters here were supposed to be in that color. And I just didn't feel like it shone through on this fabric well. So I went and found in the same color family, darker green, and left this, it's a medium light green. That one's, an original called for color. But this darker green, I figured would help the colors stand out on the fabric. I suppose it would have been easier to just start over on a different fabric maybe, but I wasn't finding anything that I was really happy with or liked. So I've continued on with that. Again, this was started as my blessing sampler too, and it's just sort of phased out and been set to the side. But this is called the 1999 Christmas Sampler by Kathy Barrick Designs. And if you do, give me a thumbs up, like, subscribe, do all the things, and I look forward to coming back and talking with you in the future. We'll talk to you soon.